the local chapter and what they do when they meet, how that works. This is who you want to see. And oh, by the way, it's her birthday today. Okay, so we won't sing though. I promise, we won't sing. Oh, now we got to sing. All right, well, all right. So one of her members says we have to. If Cassandra says we got to sing, we got to sing. All right, ready? Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Michelle. Happy birthday to you. Here we go. All right. I told you I wouldn't. I lied. Yes. Okay. So this is who you want to see. We did talk also about Paul and Kevin. If at some point you wanted to talk about sponsorship, donation, membership, Paul and Kevin can speak generally. Kevin will actually speak about that tomorrow, one of our breakouts. But Michelle is our local chapter president. I wanted you to see her. Thank you, Michelle. All right. So I'm going to make an introduction to our next speaker again, somebody very near and dear to me. As a member of my Raleigh-Durham chapter, had an opportunity to speak last month and blow away our chapter in the month of April. And so it is a great pleasure to introduce my sister, Dr. Rita Renee. Title of her message is Executive Leadership with Pressure. Executive Leadership when Pressure is High. So Dr. Renee is a TEDx speaker, international keynote author and mentor who empowers women to come off mute and step into bold leadership with their voice, story, and influence. With over 34 years of experience in nursing and corporate healthcare leadership, she has led high-performing teams, shaped culture, and advanced excellence across clinical, corporate, ministry, and entrepreneurial spaces. Her own journey through emotional, physical, and financial trauma became the foundation of her life's calling. Refusing to be silenced by pain or expectation, she transformed adversity into assignment and founded Ultimate PowerHouse Coach, a global empowerment platform that helps women turn their stories into strategy and their calling into impact. Her work is rooted in faith, driven by excellence, and fueled by the belief that voices once silenced can become the strongest in the room. She is not just building a brand, she is building a movement of women who lead with voice, vision, and value. Please help me welcome to the stage Dr. Rita Renee.
Brothers and sisters, we are at a crossroad. Too many of us are in the closet and silent. And we can no longer keep our voices muted. It is time now, today, no longer putting it off, knowing that we have to speak the truth no matter the cost. No longer can you keep being convenient with your stance on your beliefs anymore. You have to open your mouth. We can no longer be comfortable hiding behind fear and applause and what other people think. And today, I'm not here to speak to shadows. I'm here to speak to leaders, to ignite you, to set your feet on fire, to now open your mouth, not only in your organizations, but even in your homes. The world is louder than we are. We are so quiet. And we're able to tell the truth in our little closets, in our little groups. We're able to do that. But why is the world louder than we? Have you not overcome the mountain? Have you not seen miracles in your home? Have your lives have not changed? Is it right to keep the gift that God has given you and hide it under a rock? It should be on a hill where the light can be seen so others can be free. And that's why I am so passionate about leaders going through the storm. As a child, from the age of 5 to the age of 10, I was molested by my uncle, and not only by my uncle, but a female cousin. That is something that could have broken me. That is something that could take the breath out of anyone. And even when I told my family at the age of 19, after I had my child at the age of 16, My grandmother didn't believe me. My aunt didn't believe me. My brothers and my mother did. But even during that time, I never saw myself as a victim, because as leaders, we carry so much baggage. We can make it look so good on the outside. We can make people think that we can perform under pressure, but we never know what it took to get to the journey where we are right now. And so I decided that I was no longer going to be a victim. I was an overcomer. Besides, that's what the word said. That not only was I an overcomer, I was more than an overcomer. And so now, as leaders more than ever, as the country seems like it's going straight to hell in a handbasket, we have to open up our mouths. We have generations that are following behind us, and they're looking and they're seeing and they're watching. What do you do under pressure? I remember at an executive meeting, and I was there with another young woman who was a manager, and we were giving an update on the company and where we were going and what are our goals for the month. And there were people that were on the telecom, that's what they called them, the telecom then, and then also there were people in the room. And so I said, I'm going to encourage everybody, because, I'm going to bring the sunshine today. And I began to tell everybody, you know what, today is a great day. It's Monday. And you all are going to do so well. The members are looking forward to seeing you. You have something that they need. You're going to encourage our members. Somebody is looking for some hope, and you're going to give it to them, even though you're doing it via phone. And the other manager just looked at me. She looked up at me, and she told me to shut up. Now, I said the same thing inside. But one thing I knew, that God has given me a purpose, and it was up to me to steward what he gave me. Now, I could have went off. I could have rolled my neck and my eyes. I could have did all that, right? But I knew that I had this one chance to impress and encourage the other people that were watching me, the other people that I was leading. So I just said politely, today, we are not going to disrespect people. We don't do that. And in leadership, all we do is we come together. There's no I in team. We're going to here to work together. We're not going to respond out of our emotions. I left out of that room, and I had to go to everybody's cubicle, because the people that I was leading, trust me, they were straight from the hood like I was. And it was not going to be a good day that day. But I told everybody, do not retaliate. Do not say anything to her. I will have a conversation. And I talked to her in private. And as a leader, I didn't look at her, and we were different. She was white, I was black, but I didn't see color, because my parents never raised me to look at color. They raised me to look at the heart of the person. And I knew it was a heart issue and not a color issue. And I wasn't going to make it a color issue. And I just let her know that was the last time you're going to do that. That's not how we talk to each other. And I gave her a Christmas present. That was years ago. And out of all of those years, I've still been at the same company for 22 years. But I had to learn through trials in my life. And I knew that God gave me those leadership skills even as a young child. What are you doing that people are seeing as you as a leadership? So I want to share what God showed me about being anchored. Do y'all know this old song that my grandmother used to sing this song? There's a storm out over the ocean, and it's moving this away. If your soul's not anchored in Jesus, it will surely drift away. If we're not anchored in the Word of God, because that's the only thing that's going to keep us in leadership. That's the only thing that's going to keep us in our relationship. That's the only thing that's going to keep us close to God. If we're not anchored, then we can't do this. I can't do it. I don't care how many skills, how many alphabets I had behind my name, if it wasn't for the grace of God. If it wasn't for his love for me. If it wasn't for me going through those things. And no, I don't celebrate all the things that had happened to me. I was in a bad marriage. Even in leadership, I was homeless, and people didn't know it for 2 years. I had bleach put in my contact solution by my ex-husband. I had women calling me, telling me that they had aborted their 2 babies by my husband. And that was just the first year of marriage. And I stayed in the marriage for 16 years. But God. Now I'm happily married. Now y'all can celebrate. 'Cause I'm doing really good now. Next. And so, why does this matter? Because storms that leaders face every day, they impact our lives. But it's how we go through the storms. Do we have a pity party? What are people saying? And because when you're going through the storm, 9 times out of 10, you're not going by yourself. There's somebody that's sitting at that desk. There's somebody that's in that warehouse. There's somebody somewhere around you that's going through a storm too. But God chose you. He chose you to be the example on how to get out. And can you do that? So we make these decisions and we feel like, Lord, I will need to make the decision. All the weight is on me. But he did not say he would leave you nor forsake you. That's what he said. He's never going to leave you nor forsake you. So you don't have to worry about him leaving. He's there in the decision making, but you can't use him as the backup plan. God is not our backup plan. Even in ethical decisions, even in uncertainty in our organization, even in the things that impact our lives each and every day. Isolation is really true at the top. And I was chasing after every title that could. Let me tell y'all, the only debt that I have is my student loan debt. I'm probably going to pay for that for the rest of my life. And the only reason why I got that, because I felt left out. I want to be included. And whether it was in church, somebody was like, oh, you got to have this MDiv, you got to do this. And next thing I know, here I go, student loan debt. And you know what? And none of them people around me, and none of them claim me as their brother or sister in Christ. But God showed me that through faithfulness, even in that, he still had me. And I'm kind of glad because it kind of keeps me humble. And as leaders, we need things to keep us humble. I'm glad that David said that I was afflicted because it kept me close to him. It let me keep his statutes, right? And so as leaders in the storm that we're facing today, we can't have our faces all scrunched out. We have to show people that the God that we serve is no longer in the grave, right? He is alive. And we don't have to serve and worship statues and potions and all those things. He is alive, but we need to stay anchored in him. Go to the next one. And so God gave me this, like being anchored, this framework. What do we do before the act? And we have to name the storm. We have to do all of these things that we're going to go through, each and every one of you. And I'm going to be the shortest presenter today. And that's my gift to you. You go to the next one. So A, we have to be anchored before we act. How many of us have been in corporations, or we're still in a corporation, and it seems like there's a fire every day? Mine is every Friday at 4 o'clock. Every Friday, it doesn't fail. I can react. I can be upset. I can be have a stinky attitude. I can do all of that. But what is that really doing for the glory of God? And every decision that we make, remember, it's not about us. It's all about him. And God will allow things to happen to us to humble us. And also, it will bring to surface the things that are in us that is not of him. Because there's a lot of people calling themselves Christians. They are not Christians. And you know what I've learned? I look at the fruit. You can say you're a Christian. You can wear a cross all the way down to your knees. You can have the dress all the way to the floor. I do not care. I don't say anything. I just watch. Because the fruit will tell it all. And it tells through your values, how you appreciate people, how you talk to people, how you come alongside of people, how you humble yourself. Just because you have a title, you can learn from other people. I remember I was on a praise and worship team for 11 years. And they had the old praise and worship team. I was on the old praise and worship team. And so I was on the older praise and worship team. And then the young people came in. That was the pastor's daughter and all them. And she wasn't even going to college yet. And I was the only one that stayed. I was the oldest one. And she said, Miss Rita, you going to stay on the worship? I said, yes, ma'am. I'm going to learn from you. And I stayed on the praise and worship team. And I was the oldest one, and I was proud. And so you can't be so high and mighty that you cannot learn from other people. Proverbs 19:2, he who hurries his footsteps, they err. Don't be in a rush to make a decision. Make sure you anchor that decision. Go to God like David did. Every decision that he made, he went to him, except with Bathsheba, but we forgive him. God has forgiven us, right? Let's go to the next one. Name the storm. One of the most vulnerable places that you can be is to name the place where you at and not be ashamed of it. I had to humble myself when the only person that knew that I was actually homeless was my boss, because I had to be on the computer a lot, and sometimes I would have to go to places that had the Wi-Fi. She was the only one that knew, and she never said anything to anyone. But I had to open up, and God will send you people to open up to tell what's going on with you that you can confide in. And we have to have that, because sometimes we get in a place that we want everybody to think that everything is a bed of roses, and people get this misconception thinking that everything is great. How I can be a CEO. You see all these CEOs and these people that's up here, and they start telling their story. But are you willing to walk in the shoes that they walked in? Are you willing to travel the road that they traveled in? Are you willing to be abused and go through all the things that I have gone through? And that's just the tip of the iceberg. So we have to be able to name that. So what is actually going on in your life? Don't let people assume, and don't think that people can read your mind. Don't think that people can say they ought to see how I'm doing. They should know I need help. No, we don't. We're not mind readers. But we can help you if you let us know what's going on with you. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And that's one of the things, and that's why I share my story, because the truth set me free. And when the truth sets you free, especially when you're a leader and other people want to know, how can this really happen for me? It set me free, and they saw that transformation. Then they started believing not in me, but in him. Because that's the goal, right? Because if he is lifted up, it draws everyone to him, not us. Next. Control. Control of what you steward. Now, I'm not saying control like right now. Y'all pray for me. I'm getting ready to transition in leadership I'm a part of a women's organization. I love my friend. She loves me. She's been a leader for a long time. But she's having a hard time to relinquish leadership. And so I've been very patient in showing her grace through this process. But I'm talking about when we have control, I'm talking about your attitude, your mouth, those things, your responses, how you talk to people. Because sometimes in leadership, just because we have the title doesn't mean that we lord over people. God wants to trust you with his servants. These are his people too. We didn't create these people that are working for us. You know that God loaned them to us to help our businesses, to help our vision, to move our visions along. So we have to steward that control over that. Because he has given us this influence. And how are you influencing these people? Are you influencing them in the right way? Are you being an example to them so they can see the right way of being a leader? Or even serving, and even as a wife. Now, I'm about to say a little side, then I'll get back on the road. Okay, y'all? So I wasn't going to say this, but it sounds, you know what, Lord? Okay. So women, because I'm a woman, I can speak to women, right? The boss chick, foolishness. The girl boss, foolishness. God has given us a role that we should not be ashamed of. We do not have to, if we are, that's great. We don't have to be the CEO of nothing. But because God has given us leadership and stewardship of our homes, we should be grateful to God, and we should do it with the best of our ability. And we should not complain about it, not one time. And we should not give our husbands, if you're not doing this to your husband, then don't act like you didn't hear me. We should not be giving our husbands a hard time. Because it's better for him to be on the rooftop than listen to our tackling, right? That's what the word said. So I'm going back on the road now to leadership. All right, next. Okay. Hold people steady. The way we respond, the way that we talk, the way that we live our lives, the way that we serve, the way that we give, we have to lead by example. And how we respond to emergencies, those fires, those fire drills, those demands that the corporation wants us to do, to the quotas that we have to meet. All of those are important. And the way that you handle them is the way that the other people that are following you, they will have peace because of your pace. They will have peace because they know that they trust you enough that they know this is a God-fearing woman. This is a God-fearing man. I trust them. I see their lives. I see how they walk. I hear how they talk about their wives and their children and their family and their church and how they serve. I trust their decision. And so you won't get so much resistance when you're doing that. When you're present, not present just in the good times, but present in the bad times. Even while I was homeless, and I have like 20-some nurses that work all over the United States. So they all work from home. We've been working from home since 2014. I ain't seen the hospital since then. I worked in HMO company, and I did my duty. I let the young people run the hospitals. But these women, they're at home. I went through divorces. I went through in vitros not working 2 and 3, 4 times. I went for people now having their babies, people getting married. I went through all deaths in the family. All of them, because I was present with them. And I showed them that I really cared. That it wasn't always about the quota. Let's put this aside. Apply for FMLA. Go ahead and take your time off. That's where your mind is. When I showed that I cared about them, then they cared about what I cared about. Does that make sense? Next. Obey when outcomes are unclear. And people don't like that word obey. And sometimes it's very hard. But we have to obey God's voice. That's the obey I'm talking about. When God tells you to do something for your team, for your corporation, for your family, for your organizations, we have to obey his voice. And I'm trusting God more and more each day. He's showing me. And I know I told y'all I've been at the same corporation. June, next month, it'll be 22 years. I'm transitioning out. Y'all keep me in prayer. I'm transitioning out within 1 year. That's the plan. But if he say tomorrow, I'm praying that he'll say tomorrow. But anyway, but just obeying, even though it's unclear, I've learned that when I say yes to God, every no that has been given to me, there's been multiple yes behind it because I said yes. It didn't matter what anybody else didn't do. It didn't matter if it was popular. It didn't matter if anybody was going to go along with me. And I've learned this thing. I used to be part of a sorority, and I denounced the sorority once I had a true relationship with God. And I kept wondering, why in the world I pledged late? I'm a late bloomer, 44 when I pledged. Craziness, okay. Because I wanted to be belong to something, right? And so it took me a long time to denounce it because I thought it was my sisterhood. I thought it was a family. And I said, these people don't even call me. They don't even connect with me. So why is it so hard for me to denounce them? And God said, I will give you a new family. And when I came here to North Carolina, me and my husband didn't know anybody from a can of paint. Y'all know I'm old when I say stuff like that, right? And so God got us connected to this church. I didn't know anybody. But after 3 years, I sat there. I told the pastor there was 2 things. I said, I got 2 questions. I said, are these people going to, I said just like this, y'all, so I feel open. I can talk to y'all. I'm very transparent. I said, are these people going to look at me crazy because I'm the only black woman in this church? Because I don't have time for that. I'm just here for the word. He said, no, and if they do, they can all leave, and you can just sit right in the pew. And the other thing is that don't rush me into ministry. I said, I just need to be fed. Because I was doing so much for other people because I wanted to be light and I wanted to be a part. Does that make sense? And this time when I went in, I wanted to serve from my heart, not from my head. Does that make sense? And so I had to obey him. I sat there, and now I am the director of the women's ministry. Y'all pray for me. These women are very nice, though. I love them. They my sisters. But that's all about being obedient. The things that God knows, the desires of our heart, if we just be obedient to him, he will fulfill them. And I'm learning that each and every day. Next thing. Remember who you serve. There is nothing that any of us can do without God. I don't know why I'm still standing here, but I know God knows why. And even in my pain, God even gets the glory out of that. Even in our struggle, God gets the glory out of that. And if God can get the glory out of that, then yes, I will be that sacrifice. I will go through that shame. I will go through that pain because I know that this is not my final destination. I'm just traveling through. But when I travel through, I want to travel with a spirit of excellence. I want to make an impact. I want people to know the God that changed my life, that took something that everybody looked at as used goods, and then he allowed her to have a voice to help other people, to free them in leadership. And even in leadership today, I don't change. I'm going to tell y'all this last story. So I told y'all I was part of the women's organization. And every year they have an annual Christmas party. Y'all said annual Christmas party. Okay, somebody, bless their soul, tried to tell me, should we just change this to holiday? I said, ma'am, you done asked the wrong person that. Because, number one, if I was a Muslim, you wouldn't ask me to change nothing about Muhammad. If I was any other religion, you would not change anything. So why come as Christians, you had to open up your mouth and put it in a letter? I put mine in a letter too, my response. I want y'all to know that too. And we're not changing it. And guess what? She still came. See, this is the same. The enemy will try you. That's why you have to remember, he's doing what he's supposed to do, but are you doing what you're supposed to do? Are you following the instructions that God gave you and stop worrying about people? People will come and go. They flaky, right? But our God is consistent in everything that he does. And so you answer to God, you steward his people, and you execute with excellence. Next. So I want you all in the next 30 days, I want you to be able to commit to this. Commit to this leadership way of thinking. I want you to think about one behavior that you can just stop doing. Like, I'm no longer going to do this. I'm going to go in every morning. I'm going to write on the teams, like I put on there, Happy Monday. I'm going to do something different. My behavior is going to be different. One practice that you're going to start, and then one value that you're going to reinforce, and you're not going to be ashamed. You're going to stand tall like a good soldier of the Lord. You're going to be strong, and you're going to be courageous, right? Because he did not give you a spirit of fear, but of power and of a sound mind. And there's nothing wrong with you. The only thing that's wrong with you is that you just love Jesus. And that's their problem and not yours. I know who has my life in my hand. He has brought me out of the muck and miry clay. And I could have lost my mind, but God. And I'm so grateful for that. Next. After today, we're not going to be indecisive about who we are. We're going to walk into the marketplace. We're going to walk whatever door that God opens up for us. We're going to walk in knowing who we serve. And we're going to walk in with our assignment. We're going to be proud about that assignment too. And guess what? There are going to be people that reject you, but it doesn't matter because guess what? In the end, we win. That's right. So it's a fist fight. They just silly. They just betting on these people, child. You're going to win. Uh-huh. And so we're going to continue. We're going to be calmer in our leadership. We're confident. Just because you're confident, you don't have to be the loudest one in the room. You don't have to be the boldest one. You just got to be the one that's going to stick to what God has called you to do, the faithful one. We're going to have strong, ethical confidence. And we're going to integrate our faith. We're not going to hide it. We're going to hide anymore. We're going to have our light so high that people can see it all across America. no matter where we are, not just in our words, but in our deeds, in everything that we do. Next slide. Leadership accountability under pressure, authority carries responsibility, influence requires faithfulness, trust demands integrity. The enemy wants us to lose our testimony, our witness. He's going to trip you up. Don't think because y'all left out of here, we left out of here, we done got all this knowledge, we done boo-hoo and cry, seen men crying in here too. I said, Jesus. Don't think he's not going to try us. That's what he's supposed to do. And it doesn't mean that you're less blessed than anybody else. Our blessings are not measured by the things that we have in our closet, that we wear, that we drive, that we go home to. That's not how our blessings are measured. Our blessings are measured by the righteousness of God. And we are under his authority. Next. So storms don't disqualify leaders. They reveal who is anchored. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 11. Afterward, it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness. Next. There is a free worksheet. If you would like it, I will make sure the slide goes out, or you can download it here. And also, if you will just allow some feedback and give me some feedback, I will appreciate that as well. And then the next slide. If you want to know more about me, you can come talk to me here, or you can just scan the QR code. Thank you so much for allowing me to share. God bless you all. And let's serve God, and let's be a great soldier for him. Amen.
Feel a little like church in here, huh? Woo! Thank you, Rita. So just a quick, I'm sure you type A's noticed that we had a 30-minute gap in the calendar. Now you're figuring out like, okay, what are we going to do? Okay. So I'm going to tell